Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Emmy Hashimi. I am a doctoral student in California, a freelance human rights advocate and journalist. I've decided to put this documentary together after completing a major project on the narrative of a leader. The leader I chose to interview is a man who has risen out of the ashes of war and conflict, lived through turmoil and tragedy during his younger years, followed in the footsteps of great leaders like Croce or Cyrus the Great, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Gandhi, and many more. This documentary is about Abdul Ali Faiq, one of the co-founders of the United States of Democratic Federal of Khorasan government in exile. The story of Abdul Ali Faiq is a 4-part episode towards establishing the United States of Democratic Federal of Khorasan. On October 17, 2024, I had the honor and pleasure of interviewing Mr. Abdul Ali Faiq, a social justice leader who rose from the ashes of war and conflict in his home nation of Khorasan and co-founded the United States of Democratic Federal of Khorasan.
First of all, thank you so much for giving me this golden opportunity to connect with you and to pass my humble experience about leadership and about state buildings and nation buildings and organizational building. And it's my honor and privilege. I'm extremely cheerful and grateful to be with you.
Mr. Abdul Ali Faiq established USDFK to bring back the identity of his nation, which was named Afghanistan in the late 1800s. As a result of changing the name from a heterogeneous name like Khorasan to a homogeneous identity linked only to the Afghan Pashtun ethnicity, in a nation which is made up of over 34 ethnicities, cultures, and languages, over time a deprived people like Mr. Abdul Ali Faiq, who is an ethnic Tajik, also known as the Iranians of the East, of their human rights. I was born in north of Khorasan in 1980. In other words, I am a child of war. I was born precisely in a war zone. So I grew up with the mindset of conflict, instability, dilemma, and perplexity.
As you know, I was born in north of Khorasan, and precisely I was born when my mom was pregnant in 1979. In other words, I am a children of war. I was born precisely in a war zone.
I belong to Tajik ethnicity, and my ethnicity has been used and abused by the Afghan Pashtun tribes in power. I personally have not experienced any cheerful day in my lifetime. All I have experienced and I saw was misery. I was part of those miseries. Not only me, my family, my siblings, my neighbors, uncles, and auntie, so on and so forth.
I brought up with a mindset of conflict and instability and dilemma and perplexity. I personally haven't experienced any cheerful day in my lifetime. So all I experienced and I saw was misery. So I was part of those misery.
Until I entered school. We're basically immigrants from north of Khorasan, from a state called Panjshir. We were 12 brothers and sisters from the same mama and daddy. 6 brothers and 6 sisters. A very massive family. We were expelled from our place by Russia and were transferred by force to Kabul, the capital. It was a communist regime then. From those periods of time, I had a notion that we have to bring a paradigm shift. We have to do something to bring a change, a positive change.
From those periods of time, I had a notion that we have to bring a grand paradigm shift. We have to do something to bring a change, a positive change. So therefore, this notion of state building cultivated in my mind since my childhood.
Which motivated me and pushed me to be responsible, creative, invoked, invented, and objective as well. There was a lot of confrontations with the Russian regime and Mujahideen. My father was a part of those northern leaders, but he was not a Mujahid. He was living in the capital. So that's why my father was confronted by Russia, and my elder brother, Sharif Faiq, killed by the Russians.
I mean, there was a lot of confrontations from Russia regime about Mujahideen and about those holy war, warriors. And my father was part of those northern, leaders, but he was not a Mujahid. He was living in the capital. So that's why my father was confronted by Russia, and also my elder brother, he was killed by Russia.
He was only 19. Also, my auntie's family was destroyed and punctured by Russia's helicopters. So those days made us very unhappy, particularly my mom, who was traumatized and tantalized and psychologically disturbed after my brother was shot by a Russian commander. My mama truly and honestly, my hands and my heart, inspired me based on morality, sincerity, and honesty. She was a very serious woman, a very beautiful woman. She taught me that honesty is the best policy and sincerity is the key to success. That I learned from my mama, despite not having a formal education, but from a psychological point of view, she was one of the most knowledgeable in psychology. She was a psychologist, believe me. She was very smart and the center of my inspiration, not only for me, even for my siblings as well. My mama was very serious, very beautiful, and very funny at the same time. My father was humble, very, very calm, despite not having a formal education. Only I think he completed 10th grade. His mathematics was very, very good. He was a shopkeeper. He was confronted by the communist regime's secret intelligence and so on and so forth, and he had been hurt so many times and on so many occasions. So his life was not a very joyous one, but he always kept his smile. He was very positive and a great dad for all of us. We love him and we remember. Those days reflect my childhood, where we thought there is one thing that's war and one thing that's conflict. We did not have a lot of privilege of a good education and a good lifestyle. So all those issues impacted me as a child and impacted my family and my siblings. That's why we suffered a great deal. However, those suffering and struggles and conflicts made me strong, accountable, and responsible.